You see that stuff I just showed you there? That is 13 bags of garnet. Now in case you're unfamiliar, garnet is what we use on the water jet cutter for cutting metal, for cutting the titanium. Even though it's a high pressure jet of water, that actually does nothing. The water itself does nothing. It's just a carrier for garnet, and garnet is extremely fine sand. I think it's taken from the beaches of Australia, certainly the stuff we get anyway, a particular beach or area in Australia. Interesting technology. I've been stockpiling that stuff since I got the water jet cutter nearly 2 years ago. 13 tons of it is pretty much what we've used in that time. We just sort of put one bag out there and then another bag, and before we know it there's like loads of it. I've got someone who's going to take it, and so in the next few days I'm going to organise having it picked up and taken away. Since I was here last time, I see there is a chain, a big old dirty chain on the workbench, which means my father has either replaced or is going to replace. It looks like he's going to replace because that looks like a new chain, dirty but new. Going to replace the chain in here. Now I don't know, no, you won't be able to see it, but in behind here we take the side panel off here and we replace the chain. The chain has to be replaced every, oh I don't know, maybe 500 hours. It sounds like a lot, but this machine gets used just an absolute ton, and 500 hours really isn't that long. And because chains always stretch, they're always stretching, especially on this thing, we're constantly adjusting it, so there's, you know, you hear things rattling and we've got to adjust it and adjust it. That's why that machine is, it's been good for the last year and a half or nearly 2 years, but this machine, this is like where it's exciting. There's nothing to do on this. Nothing, nout, nada, zip. Nothing. It's such a luxury having to do no maintenance whatsoever. It just runs and runs and runs. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Magnus, is that a new t-shirt you're wearing? Why yes it is, thank you. I bought it yesterday. Now there's something you should know. I hate clothes shopping. It's one of my top 3 things I dislike. 1, taking photos, 2, ironing, and 3, buying clothes. I bought 2 t-shirts yesterday, identical t-shirts. It fits so well, it's so comfortable, it's ridiculous. I'm like, I'm gonna go and buy some more. So I'm gonna go and do that now. You know, you've got to strike while the iron is hot. In the camera shop just now, asking about a drone. Thinking of getting one, very close. You know, it's really weird. I feel energized and motivated again today, sort of with these videos, and there's a peculiar reason for that. I said in yesterday's video, if I can't come up with a way to, you know, to do videos that are built around, you know, like CNC machining, or, you know, like doing milling or working on projects, then I probably wouldn't bother, because people aren't really likely to be interested in my life and sort of just the general videos that I do. The funny thing is, there was, I don't know, 14, 15 comments, whatever it is. Usually there's only a handful, but there was tons of comments compared to usual. Pretty much all of them were saying, I'm not too bothered about projects and CNC stuff, Magnus. I'm liking what you're doing so far and keep going with it. And I'm like, okay, let's do that. So what I'm gonna do more of, I think, this is the plan anyway. I'm gonna do more of just what I want to do and how I live even though it's a boring life, that's fine. I mean, I showed you today talking about the garnet, I talked about the tumbler, I talked about getting a new t-shirt, I can't remember what else I talked about, and I'm just researching and thinking a bit more about milling machines, CNC milling machines, manual milling machines, conversational milling machines, and I'm going to talk about that as well. I'm just going to do what I want and we'll see how it goes. So here I have a whole bunch of information on milling machines, more specifically conversational milling machines. I covered it in a previous video, but I'll cover it again here very quickly. You have basically three types of milling machines. You have a CNC milling machine where you completely 3D model what you're trying to machine from the block of metal, and you put it through some CAM software and some processing, and you've got to load up the machine with the various tools, and it's like one big operation. On the other end of the spectrum you have a manual milling machine, and that's basically got an X-axis and a Y-axis and sometimes a Z-axis depending on the machine, and you turn wheels, and you turn the wheel and the bit of metal will go that way, and you turn the other one, it will go that way. And then you've got this sort of middle ground, which is a conversational milling machine. And it's kind of like you can draw paths. You can draw a circle on the computer, or you can actually do it on the screen. I'll show you here. So that there, you could draw a circle on here. This is the controller for the conversational milling machine. You draw the circle and the machine will do all the X and Y's, and it will machine out a circle. It's very, very simple. And that's what I'm thinking of going for. So I will show you on the screen here. I'll do a screen share with you and show you what I'm looking at and why I'm looking at some things and not others. So if you look here, this is a controller, and this is called Centroid. You basically just buy the controller and you can retrofit it to like an older machine, or I think there's some companies that will fit this controller to a machine and sell you the whole thing together. From what I can tell, Centroid aren't that great compared to other ones. There's also one called, I think it's ProtoTrack and some other one. I'm not very good at remembering the names of these. But this one, I actually saw this one in person. It looked a bit clunky from what I could tell, my sort of limited experience. I was up at a show in Auckland earlier in the year, and yeah, so that's kind of a write-off, that one for me. This other one, a company called Laygun, they make this machine here. They make a few machines, and I think this has got the Accurite controller, I believe. I can't quite remember. Where is it? Accurite. I think it's Accurite. Whatever. It's this one. It's got manual capability, so you can, turn the wheels, X and Y, and you've also got the Z as well, up and down. But it's also got, the conversational, and I think you can do like full CNC. You can do a 3D model and pass it through to this. So you've got that one, which is Laygun. Very similarly, you've got Kent USA. I think it's a similar or the same controller. I can't quite remember. Similar controller. And that's from the US as well. I think Laygun is from the US. And you've also got finally this one. Now this is King Rich, but it's actually also known as XYZ Machinery, and there's a few other ones. It's basically a Taiwan made machine, and just various companies slap their label to the front of it. Just like, you get a lot of good products like that, a lot of bad products like that. But that's what that is. Now here's my problem, and it is a problem. Usually I have no issue buying a product. If I'm looking for a tumbler or whatever machine it is, or computer or whatever, it's easy. I just go for the best. That's what I do. That's my way of operating, my modus operandi, I think I call it. It's just the way I do things. But these machines are tricky because you've got two parts. You've got the controller and you've got what's called the iron. I think they sort of call it the iron, which is like the big chunk of metal that weighs hundreds of kilos, 1 ton, 2 ton, I don't know how much it weighs, it's a lot. So you've got controller and iron. The easy solution would be go for something that's made in Japan. That's, if I was getting a CNC machine, that's what I'd go for. If I was getting an EDM machine, which I will hopefully get at some point, I go for that. I go for Japanese or whatever. It's just, they make the best stuff from what I can tell and from, speaking to others. But these conversational half manual type things, the Japanese don't make them. These machines I've showed you so far, the Laygun, the Kent USA, and the King Rich, and the other similar ones like that, they're all made in Taiwan as far as I can tell. All the iron's made in Taiwan. So it's a little bit tricky because, it's like perhaps the Laygun and the Kent USA which are two machines that come from the USA. I don't believe they're made in the USA though, at least not the iron part of it. I could get it from the USA, but you know, let's assume it's the better machine, and then I go, oh, it's a better machine, I buy that. It's simple. The problem is that it's not that simple for me here in New Zealand for two reasons. One, I will be getting a loan to get this, and almost always as part of the loan is they want the machine in New Zealand before they pay me any money to buy the machine. And the people that sell it to me from another country, they won't release the machine until I've given them the money. Now there is facilities, credit facilities, and a few other services that can be, it's possible to get past it. I know that from discussing with loan companies and banks. So that's not a big issue. The bigger issue is support. Like, there's a good chance, you know, something's going to go wrong. I'll need support. You know, if I'm using the machine, you can't be down for a while, or you want to be supported. And if it's companies, it's tricky when it's companies not in this country. Lagan and Kent USA, they don't have representatives or agents or dealers in this country. I would just be bringing it in off my own back. And so those two things are like, even if the machines are better, I could go for what's possibly the less good machine, but I actually don't know. I actually think it's quite good from what I can tell. And that is the King Rich style one, because there is a dealer here. They've been selling it for a long time. I even went along a local engineering firm who have had one for I think 3, maybe nearly 4 years now, and you know, they said it's amazing, and I know the guy, and I know that he wouldn't mess around with stuff unless it was good. So that's one of the main things I'm contending with, is that there's no simple just get the best, that's it. I have to take into account support and actually financing and getting the machine into the country. And the other thing is, I'm still vacillating between, should I get this conversational type one that's also got the wheels manual, or should I just go for full CNC? Now it's easy to say, oh, go for the full CNC because you can make anything and do that. Remember, I don't need that really, because I have a guy I work with. I've been working with him for 2 years. He's a phenomenal CNC guy, possibly if not the best in New Zealand. Very lucky to work with him. We work closely together. I sort of do the ideas and the design, and you know, we work closely, and he sort of brings it to fruition, and I do the finishing processes, that kind of stuff. So I don't think I need that, because he's infinitely more qualified and will be infinitely more qualified and experienced, etc., etc., than I will be. I think I'm just bringing you my thoughts and allowing my thoughts to come out. I would be curious if anyone out there has experience on conversational mills, or you know, any of these brands I had mentioned or other brands I've missed. If it's any help, I always just buy the best, but I can't seem to see that there is a best one. So any info on that would be appreciated. The comments is the best area for that. Right, with that, I am going to leave you with another quote today. Recently I've really been studying Stoic philosophy, and sort of addicted to that, just printing stuff off, reading and learning and studying. And so I'm going to give you a quote today from a Stoic philosopher. It's by Epictetus, and he said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them."